Hello, welcome back to Buckle Up. My name is Rob Wilson and this is the new BMW 1 Series, and today I'm going to find out if it's any good. Okay, so let me start at the front, where things have been a bit controversial recently for BMW, but I quite like the horizontal grills that are now on the 1 Series. It's also a lot sharper at the front, more pointed and sporty. This is an M135 model, so we do have some sporty black plastic air intakes around the bottom. We do have actual aero here as well for going around the wheel wells. We've got these new lights, so you can see very far at night, and those headlights have the updated 4 headlight design that used to be on BMWs back in day, but they've got the 4 strikes now instead of them being round. Also, quick mention for this lovely frozen blue paintwork, because it's this satin finish. It looks like a wrap, but this is how the car comes. Very nice indeed. But let's have a look at the side, because we've got some lovely 19-inch wheels on this M model. Lesser cars obviously get smaller wheels. You don't get these massive, chunky red brake calipers either on lesser models, but they are quite something. M badge, M door mirrors with the little extra bit on it there. Got a big crease here that goes along the whole sort of shoulder of the car, which is quite nice. Skirt along the bottom, again, M performance-y bits. And this little number here to designate that this is, in fact, the 1 Series. And here at the back, the sportiness continues with this almost ducktail upper spoiler here. We've got a rear wiper, we've got quad exhaust tips for the first time on an M135 model. Again, this is a lot more sporty than the lower models, so your diffuser will not be this aggressive on those cars. But let's open up the boot, which is of course electronic, and now we get into some weirdness, because this is the hot version, obviously, and it has the biggest boot at 380 litres, which makes it 25 litres more than an A-Class or an A3. But if you get one of the lesser models, they have mild hybridness in them, which happens to live under the boot floor. So if you get one of those, your boot space goes down to 300 litres, which is not very good compared to the A3 or the A-Class. So in conclusion, get the fast one, and then you're being more practical. Anyway, in here we have a boot floor which I can lift up. Obviously this would be full of electronic gubbins on the mild hybrids. We've got a couple of hooks. It's a nice square shape. We've got Annette, she lives there as well. She's popping up all over the place. And we've got 40-20-40 splits on the seats as well. And if you fold those down, it's 1,135 litres on the mild hybrid versions, or on this version, it's 1,200 litres. So again, buy the fast one. Anyway, I'm going to go and sit in the back seats and see if all 6'2" of me fits. In terms of room, I am 6'2" or 188 centimetres tall, and as you can see, I am struggling a little bit here for headroom. Legroom is okay. It's not quite as good as the Golf R for me personally, same with headroom, but there is a cutout in this front seat, and this is the upgraded sports seat, which makes it a bit chunkier as well, but you can tuck your knees in there if you want to. I wouldn't want to travel with 3 people here in the back, because this middle seat is quite narrow and there is a hump in the floor as well. I do have some practical features though, because I've got an armrest that folds out from that middle seat with 2 cup holders, and I can actually make this through loading as well. So if you want to carry longer items, you can do so while still having 4 adults in here. We've got Isofix on the outer seats. We don't have any seat back pockets because we've got the sports seats. We've got air vents down here in the centre, but we don't have the ability to change the climate controls ourselves. We'll just have to ask up front nicely. 2 USB-Cs, you've got decent door pockets, and generally the materials in here are actually quite nice. It's soft on the tops of the doors. Where you rest your arm, there's a nice pad as well. This speaker, very nice stitching, Alcantara on your seats, so you're not moving about too much if the driver is a loony. But yeah, it's absolutely fine back here for this class of car. So let me hop up front and see what's going on there. Okay, so up here I've obviously got a lot more room, and it is noticeably nicer than the old car in here. I've got a big fat M steering wheel in front of me with some paddles on the back. I've got cruise functions on this side, and then volume and fiddling around with your huge screens. You've got 2 of them, one for the driver and then one for your infotainment in the centre, and this is the latest 9th generation version of this system, and it does work pretty flawlessly, to be honest. It's very quick to respond. You can connect your Apple CarPlay up and everything like that. When you try and change the temperature, it actually does it, which isn't a given on all new cars, so well done BMW. Below your screen, oh, now it thinks I want to talk to it, but I don't. Below that, I've got my fan vents as well, which have little weird controls for the direction and airflow. Interesting choice. There's a little shelf there which isn't quite big enough for a phone to go on because it would slide off, but you do have a pad below that which can have wireless charging on it as well. You've got enough space in the centre for 2 Cano waters, hashtag not sponsored, 12 volts, 2 USB-Cs, and then here are where a lot of the physical controls that remain are based. So you've got your start-stop button, your drive selector, you've got your heated screen, rear screen, cameras and driving modes, and distance for your adaptive cruise. You've also got a physical volume dial and a skip forward and back button as well, which you don't get in every car, so that is nice to see. In terms of practicality, we've got decent door bins again with a proper cutout for a bottle holder. We've got a glove box which is a reasonable size. We've got a armrest that lifts up, in which we find a bin, which is again not too shabby. And then generally the design in here, again, soft on the top of the doors. As I said, you've got these big screens here. You've got lovely details around the vents. You've got your BMW colours on your stitching. Every time I say BMW, it thinks I'm talking to it, so I won't say that anymore. You've got lovely brushed elements around the air vents, and these, as I say, optional sports seats, which are expensive. This is a BMW, remember? It's not good. Oh, God. Sorry. It keeps thinking I'm talking to it. This car, which happens to be BMW, is obviously got a lot of options on it. I'll talk more about that when we drive it though, so let's do that. Right, I am now driving the new M135. So before I set off, I'm going to go on my modes, go into the screen and select Sport, and it tells me it's going to reduce the traction. So I'll be careful, and now everything's got louder in here. So I believe if I put my foot on the brake and then my other foot on the accelerator, launch control active. So yep, okay, that's fine. We don't need to go any faster than that. That was would have been, if I'd gone up to it, 0 to 60 in 4.9 seconds. We've got 300 PS and 400 Newton meters of torque, which are all less than the recently updated Mark 8.5 Golf R have. So it's not quite as quick, but the starting price is a little bit less. It's £41,000 starting, but because it's a BMW, it very quickly adds up on the old options list. So this car that I'm in has £12,000 worth of options on it. So that is, a lot of money. So it's something to bear in mind if you are cross-shopping this with something like a Golf R. Obviously it's going to be more in line with your AMG Mercedes and your Audi S products. But how does it drive? Well, very nicely. And lots of pops and bangs as well, which is nice in this sport mode. I think what I'll do is I'll dial it back down, because most of the time you're not going to be wanting it at 4,000 RPM. You're going to want to be cruising around in it, and because this becomes a standard with the M adaptive suspension, it means when you do switch it out of sport mode, it's very quiet and comfortable, even on the 19-inch wheels, which is a surprise. These seats, although expensive as an option, are very, very good and huggy and feel sporty and worth the money. The car, in terms of handling, is obviously, it's now all-wheel drive. Previous versions used to be rear-wheel drive, but for packaging reasons it didn't really make sense to do that. So as standard, it's front-wheel drive, and then you get X-Drive on anything above the two base petrol and diesel engines. In terms of the steering itself, it goes where I point the car, but it's not necessarily the most communicative because it is an electric setup, so it's never going to be as good as older cars were when they still had hydraulics. But it's you know, it's on par with, I keep mentioning the Golf R because I happen to be driving it recently, so it's fresh in my mind. But yeah, it's certainly going to give a lot more expensive cars a run for its money because of just how capable it is with its all-wheel drive setup as well. Basically, it's a very good all-rounder, and with that in mind, I'm going to head back and do a conclusion. Okay, so the new 1 Series. Basically, they've just improved and perfected the formula that has made this a bestseller here in Britain for the last 20 years. So it is a thumbs up from Buckle Up. And if you've enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a like. Comment down below and let me know your thoughts on this new 1 Series. But most importantly, please do subscribe to the Buckle Up YouTube channel and ding the notification bell so you never miss one of our uploads. If you want to support what we do, you can go down to the description and find all the ways to follow us on social media, or you can buy some merch, or you can become a member and get exclusive behind the scenes videos for a small monthly fee. But thank you again for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.